What's up, guys? It's Miles here with Boondog Media. Last week we released a video of a spoiler-free Captain Marvel movie review that was just kind of very base level. In this video we're going to be going over spoilers and what's coming up for Endgame and the improvements that I wanted to hit on. So first is to kind of touch on some of the things I did last week that were great about this movie. Brie Larson did a tremendous job, this being her first star role playing Captain Marvel. Even though we knew that she was going to have this role for a while, Samuel L. Jackson, of course, did his thing, as I mentioned in our previous video. He had really good chemistry with Brie Larson. Captain Marvel and Nick Fury worked really well together. Another key cast member, Goose the Cat, kind of stole the whole second part of the movie. Had a big role for a cat that he's not Rocky Raccoon. He doesn't talk, you know. But as a Flerken, he has a good amount of abilities and can be very useful and dangerous to anybody that opposes him. And then the character building for Captain Marvel was good. Now, one thing that I am going to hit on later is the character building for everybody else. I feel that Captain Marvel was really our only developed character, the only person that we can really connect to in the film. And I know that this is Captain Marvel's film and that's what it's supposed to be like, but then again, you can always have side characters to have a more meaningful impact. And then another thing I want to hit on, it was a very funny movie, had a lot of humor in it, very reminiscent of a Guardians or a Thor Ragnarok. So now this is the list of things that I said weren't so great in our first review video, the plot and the action scenes. So hitting on plot, one thing that I'd really like to see more of in this movie will be Captain Marvel's time off of Earth when she's with the Kree people training and them telling her about her powers and lying to her. That would be a cool and interesting story to not only build around her, but you could also build around Ronan and all the other characters that are involved in that and the Supreme Intelligence. And that would just give, it would only take 10 to 15 minutes of film time, which is a good amount. But that would help build the backstory a little bit more and give us more of a view of the Kree civilization. And you could give some more background on the Skrulls, which would help the movie's stage overall. And at only 2 hours and 4 minutes, this isn't a super long movie, so adding 10 to 15 minutes wouldn't hurt that much. Now, looking at action scenes, I just feel like overall they were pretty underwhelming. In most action scenes, either it's kind of quick cuts similar to Black Widow, or it's just Captain Marvel beating the tar out of everybody. And I feel like it was a difficult task for the directors because Captain Marvel is supposed to be one of the strongest heroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So how do you balance interesting fight scenes when she's so powerful once she receives her powers? And that was kind of dull. When she finally unlocks her powers, it's just kind of like she's playing around with everybody. There's no real stakes in the movie anymore. It would have been cool to see a showdown with her and Ronan. I was really hoping the movie would have a final battle, and it just never happened. The first time I watched it, they call Ronan. He's coming to Earth, and you're like, wow, we're gonna get this massive fight. It's gonna be really epic, and it never happens. He just turns around. She blows up some ballistic war missiles in the air. Destroys one of Ronan's carrier fleet ships, and then that's it. It's just kind of like, well, that's it. And you never really get that massive fight scene that I was really hoping for. And because of that, the action is just kind of dulled down in this movie. Definitely compared to what we've seen in Infinity War and Thor Ragnarok. Now, of course, those are big movies with a lot of characters in them. But it's been a while since we had a Marvel movie that didn't have, a big fight scene. And I could consider Doctor Strange. We never had like the climax since the big villain is Dormammu and he can't really fight him. So I would kind of relate that movie to this movie just because we don't have this massive climatic fight scene. But I feel like that would have really helped thicken the plot and just thicken the movie. And give us a cool thing to look at and say, wow, I can't wait to see what she does versus Thanos. But instead, we just see her either be OP or struggle to beat a Skrull one-on-one. Now, when it comes to the end credit scene, that made me really excited, but it didn't really surprise me. Everybody had kind of assumed that Captain Marvel was going to show up eventually once the beacon was signaled. There was never any debate whether she was going to show up. I do not believe. I've watched a lot of theory videos, and I don't think there was any. Nobody was really tossing up in the air what was going to happen with Captain Marvel. We knew that it just made the most sense for the plot, and that she's far away. That once the beacon goes off, she's going to come, and she's going to meet with the Avengers, and they're going to join forces. And this is kind of confirms that, but again, it wasn't up in the air. Everybody expected this to happen. So the post-credit scene, it's cool to finally see her there, and that she's there without them noticing. But then again, it doesn't really give us any extra information compared to some of the post-credit scenes. This doesn't tell us anything new. And then also the in-game trailer was dropped just a few days, or really about 2 weeks after the movie was released, and we see her at the end of the in-game trailer with Thor. So nothing was really revealed here that was major. And then there was another post-credit scene, post-credit scene, I guess you could say, of Goose the Cat spitting up the Tesseract like it's a hairball. That was a funny scene everybody waited for. And this doesn't really tell us anything else either. Just that Goose the Cat finally spit it up, and that's about it. We know that the Tesseract was in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s possession at the time of Avengers, and that it was eventually taken to Asgard. So we kind of already know the timeline of this, and just kind of throws a kink in it that okay, well, Marvel had it for a while, and then S.H.I.E.L.D. finally got it from Goose the Cat. So this doesn't really tell us anything else new. And then this movie also explains how Nick Fury got his eye patch. It wasn't any cool ways, just because Goose the Cat, who is really a flurkin, scratched him, and I don't know what type of scratch it is. Apparently it's something serious. It's not just a regular cat scratching your eye. If you have to wear an eye patch or get a fake eye, it must be something very serious. So that's a kind of funny and humorous backstory to Nick Fury's eye that the MCU wanted to give. So now looking towards Endgame and what Captain Marvel means for that. This movie has her powers very broad, very undefined. We just know she's super OP. She has every crazy power in the book. She can fly. She has super speed. She can go into space, travel easily, which may relate to the quantum realm. That may be a possibility. She might not have to wear a suit like everybody else. She can shoot stuff out of her hands. Just her whole body can just radiate. So she has a very undefined skill set, which I definitely think Marvel is going to use in Endgame, just to have her do some OP stuff, which is going to be needed. But when I really start to examine it, we're talking about if the Avengers, more like when they face off with Thanos, because even though he's not going to be the main villain after Endgame, and they'll probably either in the middle of that movie or at the end to build towards the next massive villain, they're going to eventually face off with Thanos at some point in that movie. And right now, they have a pretty strong cast. We're talking about Thor and Captain Marvel, and then Iron Man and Captain America, all in the same area, with hopefully viable Hulk. I don't know if it's going to be Professor Hulk or if it's just going to be the regular Hulk. There's a lot of different Hulk theories out there. You should definitely go check some of those out. But Hulk in some form at least. And then you still have Nebula, War Machine, Rocket Raccoon. Ant-Man's going to be thrown into the mix. And then, you have your Black Widow and your Hawkeye, your little supplementary characters. But there's a lot of high hitters or heavy hitters that Thanos is going to have to fight. So it's going to be interesting to see how does Thanos beat Iron Man, Captain Marvel, and Thor together, and the Hulk all at the same time, when her powers are so OP and Thor still has Stormbreaker. It's going to be really interesting to see how Marvel approaches that. And it kind of seems like in Infinity War, he really wasn't trying to defeat anybody. He was just trying to do his goal. But now that his goal is complete, is he really just going to go all out on them, use the stones constantly, and just dominate them? So that would be interesting to see. And for the rest of the MCU, after this, Captain Marvel would definitely be a big part of that, most likely getting a second and possibly a third movie. So Captain Marvel is going to be around for a while. Brie Larson's going to be set up for a while. And the whole Avengers, they're going to be set up for a while by having Captain Marvel. I mean, after Thanos, you got a handful of people that are slightly more powerful, but it seems like you're pretty safe. Earth is pretty safe. I like the fact that the Kree could possibly come back in eventually, and the Skrulls, and maybe in Captain Marvel 2 they choose not to go into the future and they just show what she's done on her time finding the Skrulls a new home, which would be very interesting. Maybe have a run-in with the Guardians of the Galaxy, or maybe not the whole Guardians, but one or two of them. That would be really interesting to see, and that's easy to work into because it's kind of undefined. The MCU doesn't always follow the comics, and they can always just kind of throw in their little hints and little plot twists. So that would be really cool to see what they choose to do with Captain Marvel 2 and 3. And that's about all I have to talk about right now. We'll probably do a Avengers Endgame trailer breakdown on the most recent one. And if you guys haven't seen this movie yet, you need to get on it because Endgame is coming very soon, 30-some days now. I'm super hyped, about to order my tickets as soon as the movie theater I'm closest to releases them. So thanks for watching this video. Feel free to check out any of our other videos, and there will be more uploads coming. Thanks for watching.